Welcome to the More Than OK podcast, a wellbeing and family podcast about tips, strategies and stories on how to be more than OK. I'm Belinda Bray. I am a wife, a mum and a teacher, and I love learning about wellbeing, and I love taking what I've learnt into my everyday life, into my family and into my classroom. And I'm excited to bring you along the journey so you can be more than OK. Welcome to another episode of More Than OK. Today we are talking about 5 ways that being adaptable builds resilience. So I have a special guest in with me today. This is Gail Dixon. Hello.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's very exciting. So the 2 words we're looking at today are adaptability and resilience. So what do you think being adaptable means?
I think being adaptable means that you are okay with making changes in your life and deciding why you need to make those changes, and even though it's hard and tricky.
That's good. So my definition would be adaptability is welcoming change, just responding to change well. Resilience, what do you think?
For me, resilience is more like, I think of it as a ball and being able to bounce back from those things in life that are messy, the letdowns, the hurts, the disappointments, because now I know where my limits are, and knowing that maybe those limitations can help me learn stuff to move forward, but making that choice to actually bounce back rather than slide down the wall.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So one way to build resilience is to be adaptable, and you, Gail, are probably one of the most adaptable people I know. So Gail has been a classroom teacher.
Yes.
Not just one grade, I think you've taught them all.
Well, a few that I haven't, but most of them. I've dabbled.
Yes. You've also got your Masters in
Special ed.
Special ed.
Yes.
You're also a muso, so you're in a band with your husband and some other muso friends.
Yes.
So that makes you adaptable. Gail was also a fabulous character in the stage play Mamma Mia.
My all-time favourite musical.
Oh, is it?
It is.
It is. So I see you as really adaptable. Do you see yourself as adaptable?
Not always, and to be honest, I find it really difficult. It's not easy, and I've had many times in my life where I've got to a point where I have been very comfortable and it's nice and safe in that comfortable position.
You can't ever say that out loud.
Okay, no.
You're not
You didn't hear
comfortable.
that from me.
We're always ready for change.
Yeah. But then also just having to go with, if I don't actually change and I always do the same old thing, I'm never going to experience anything new. And one of my big things in my life is I don't ever really want to look back on my life and have a lot of regret. And so that means I'm going to have to put myself out there when I don't necessarily think I can or want to, so that I can, have something different in my life to talk about later on.
Yeah, good. So you are adaptable. Do you see yourself as resilient?
I think I've learned that over the years. It depends. I think sometimes the more failures you have and the more disappointments you have, and some of those hard things to handle in your life, the messy side of things, it actually helps build that resilience. And without those messes in your life, you're not actually going to build resilience and be able to learn how to become stronger and move forward in your life.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So we have been in an interesting time in history where we're getting more anxious, worried children because they have anxious, worried parents, which is kind of why we started this podcast, to help parents understand family units and give them tips and skills on how to be literally more than okay. But these are 2 things we really need to touch on with kids as well as parents. How does it play out in your job?
I think sometimes I see a lot of children and adults, even teachers, we want to try new things, but we hold back for whatever reason, and that has been very much my life. I didn't do a lot of things when I was younger because I was too scared about what people would think of me, or if I messed it up. And now I realise as I'm older, and that's why I try and share that with my students, that I couldn't read when I was in year 3, but look where I am now. I'm a teacher and I teach reading.
Yeah.
So I guess also the thing that with resilience is learning that the past mistakes and the things that you failed at in the past don't define you and your future, because it's all a stepping stone to moving forward and being a better version of yourself.
Yeah, like I've always thought that all the mistakes we've made, all of the things we didn't get quite right, they're like compost and they actually help us to grow. I don't think anything's wasted.
No.
But I think we need to actually grow through our problems and our mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not easy and it's certainly not comfortable.
Yes. We have come up with 5 ways that being adaptable builds resistance. So we've kind of done this back and forwards a little bit. So it's cool that we've come up with this list together. So number 1 is to always be ready to learn.
Yes. And I think we're all lifelong learners. We start learning how to crawl, and then when we do that we move on to the next thing, and that's the same with throughout your life. And it's important that we continue to grow, because otherwise we're comfortable when we stay in the same spot and we never get to experience something new things.
Tip number 2 is to get going, is to just start on a path and just do the next thing. What do you reckon?
Yes, and that's the hardest part for most of us. I know that in my own head, my own mind is my own worst enemy sometimes, because I think I can't do this. So to get going, sometimes you need to change your mindset, but most of all to get going, I think you need to be brave. And do it scared. And I think it was Dolly's dream. She talked about and mentioned things about speak even though your voice shakes. And so being able to try something knowing that you're scared and you may fail and you don't know it all, but having the chance and giving yourself the opportunity to try is really important.
In our family at the moment, we keep talking about doing the next thing, just doing the next step. So you might have a big dream, or you might not be sure of the direction you're going, but if you just keep moving, if you just do the next thing, you don't know where it's going to lead you.
And it's all about the little things. All about just doing those little things and trying one step further. And then another step further, because the more you do those scary things, the more you become okay with them, and then it's not as scary. Although in saying that, I know I do some things that I'm still scared about, and but it's getting better.
But we're always growing, hey?
We are.
I think that's something I wish that I could see that teenagers got, is that we are also learning and growing too. I think sometimes they think that we've all arrived. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I just wish I could just really get through to them that we're all learning stuff. We're all in it together and we're all trying to do the best we can.
And I guess the thing for me as well is to remember that you're never too old or too young to learn or try something new. I tried many things, as I said. I was very scared when I was younger to do and try things. And later on in life, because I didn't want to have regret, I tried new things, which were very scary. But now I know, at least I can look back and go, you know what? I'm not living with regret and thinking I could have. I should have. What if I would have? And that's what it's all about, putting yourself out there.
So something I think that you do really well is point number 3, which is to enjoy the journey.
Absolutely.
So I know a little bit about your journey. So you've come from a different country. You also had one of your babies had a few health issues. And then you've had, your career's been, we all have our easy roads and rough roads. How have you seemed to enjoy the journey as you go?
Well, one thing my father always used to tell me is, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And I'm a bit stubborn that way. So I guess one of the ways I try to enjoy the journey is take hold of those opportunities when they come up and put down that voice in my head that's telling me you're not going to be good enough, or I don't think you'll be able to do that, and change my mindset and say I've got to give it a try. And I think persistence for me in the journey, because any journey in life has its ups and downs and twists and turns, but it's a matter of learning how to persist through those. Because the good times are easy, it's the tricky times that aren't so. And also, if I don't test my limits, take opportunities and test my limits, I'll never know what my limits are. So
that's great.
Trying to do that too.
Number 4 is something that we try to teach kids at school too, is that there will be hard times. You want the road for your children to be smoother than your own, but then that's not going to see them grow. So we actually need to go through those hard times and learn through those to get the mountaintop experiences. So you are one of the most optimistic people I know. She is one of those almost annoyingly cheery people. I'm not a morning person, but Gail's just bubbly like 24/7. How do you keep that good attitude even when things get hard?
I guess a lot of it boils down for me about trusting God. And the proverb, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, always comes to my mind, because I don't know it all. While I would love to be perfect, I know I'm not. While I would love to be the best at things that I do and try, I know that there's always got to be someone else who's better or worse than me. So I've just got to try the thing that I can do. And so that's sort of where I start, engage with that.
Yeah, that's great. So tip number 5 in our adaptability and resilience thread is to get skilled up. So to me that is find something you really love to do and skill up in that. Now you are a great example for this. I went and saw you in Mamma Mia and thought, wow, the Gail I knew when I first met you, I couldn't have pictured you being such a out there character.
I couldn't have pictured myself doing it either, really.
And so how did you get there?
I think with that, it is a matter of, what you say is very true, is finding something that you're passionate about and getting the skills to help you reach that long-term goal. But it's so many small steps in between that. And so for me, it was putting myself out there and going to auditions, getting a couple of singing lessons, taking a couple of dance lessons, and persevering, like we talked about, which is a big thing. And then just putting in a lot of hard work, because hard work is very important. It's vital to everything you do in your life, for the easy things, but even more so for the hard things. So if you find something more tricky, you have to put more effort into it.
But do you think you put more effort in because you're passionate about it?
Well, I think you want to, because you want to succeed in that area. So the more you want to succeed, the more effort and you will put in. And so it's trickier when some of our students necessarily don't like a certain subject or don't want to do a certain thing. But hard work and being consistent in doing those little things along the way, coupled together with the many failures you're going to have along the way. I have been to many auditions and failed and done things and not done them well. But those in the end, and all that coupled together, has helped me reach success in something that I was aiming towards. So
that's great.
And if I can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love this whole idea that it's tiny things. So I'm not sure if any of our students will be watching this, but I'm sure when they hear me talk about tiny habits, tiny changes, they'll roll their eyes and go, oh, this again. But I really am really passionate about huge changes in life come about from a series of lots of tiny little things that you can do to grow and to be stronger.
Absolutely.
And to get through those hard things and be adaptable and resilient.
And I think within those things, when you do try something and you do fail at it, fail is not a bad word. Some people see it as a negative word. It's better to try and fail than fail to even try, because without even trying, you're never going to know where you could be.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you get there and find that's not where you want to be, that's okay. You can adapt and change again.
Yeah, and sometimes failing actually tells you the direction you shouldn't be going in and help you readjust and find where you need to go.
And as you said that, I just sort of also thought, when part of being resilient is knowing when to stop and let go and not go, follow that path and change the direction.
Yeah,
which is also very hard, and
it
can be very impacting. So
thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been really great to chat with you. If you've got any questions or any thoughts about adaptability and resilience, please leave us a comment and a question, and we would love to have your involvement in this podcast. Thank you for joining us.